All right, so just continuing with our presentation on seeking employment in corporate America, we have to pick a career that will hold our interest. So this is very important when you're first entering the employment realm. Like I said before in the previous video, knowing your talents and what you're good at, what you gravitate towards, your likes and your dislikes, that will help you in finding a career that is best suited for you. So in order to find a career that will hold your interest, you must discover your area of interest and determine which occupation agrees with your abilities and interests. So like I went over before, here are a few tests that you can take to kind of see your personality, what you're good at, what areas maybe that you have weakness that you need to work on. So you should mostly identify your areas of strength, but it's also helpful to know your areas of weakness also when going into finding a job. So say you've found a job you like, you're going into the interview. Here are a few tips that can help you in your preparation for that interview and making it a good experience. So after completing the preceding steps and building your resume, it's time for your interview. So first of all, before even going into the interview room, you kind of want to have a backup plan, maybe just to keep some offers and opportunities, maybe some other jobs you're going to have an interview for, or some other areas of careers that maybe you're considering. And this will kind of act as a self-confidence builder before you even go into an interview. You kind of know, hey, if this interview doesn't go well, if I don't get this job, there's other options and there's other areas of careers that I could possibly get into. So it's not the end of the world. So just kind of keeping that in the back of your mind and having that backup plan will kind of act as a cushion for your self-confidence. And that's a psychological point as well. Just having something that comforts you can act as a confidence builder, kind of like the way that parents are for a child. They act as a comforter, especially in the beginning years of that child's life. So just kind of make a connection there. It kind of serves as the same, kind of in the same way. But anyway, back to the interview process, the dialogue. You're going to be talking 60% of the time in the interview, so just preparing yourself for things you should say, even in the moments of silence when you kind of run out of things to say, just being prepared and having a few points of what you could bring up in the instance that they want you to do the talking, which is the most part. And you also want to ask questions that will help you get to know the business better. And I think that really serves as a place for employers to see as an applicant that you're interested in the company, that you want to know what they do on a daily basis. Also, you want to keep your focus, and a great tool for when you're first entering the interview room is, as you're walking to the desk or wherever you're going to be interviewed, kind of look around, see things around you that you could bring up in case you might run out of something to say when you're answering questions. So say you're walking into the interview room and you see on the employer's desk a picture of him and his family, and he has 2 small children, and you also have 2 small children. So you could kind of use that as a basis for, hey, I see on your desk that you have a picture of your family and 2 small children. I also have 2 small children, and that that gives you and the employer a place of relational value. You already are starting a relationship which serves good for you because it shows you're interested in the people you work with. But it also kind of, again, serves as self-confidence. You're being relational and social, which is super important when entering, a new business. So continuing with interview points, you kind of want to scope out the company prior to your interview, just knowing initially just some basic facts about the company, because it'll show you're interested and you're committed to working for a company that you know well. And it'll make you appear more professional as well to the people that'll be hiring you. Also, you want to kind of answer the unasked questions. They're looking for what you can bring to them. So just answering the questions that they may not necessarily ask, like what you could be doing for the company, why your employment there would be profitable for the company, but also maybe bringing up some weaknesses. And that may be something that you're questioned about in terms of the company. They may ask, they may not. But maybe just addressing your weaknesses and saying, appropriately, maybe I'm not very social. Sociability is something I'm working on, speaking up. But these steps, blank, 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 are the things I'm going to do to get better. So that again serves to put you in a place of, better confidence within the employers, because they see you're not perfect, but you have areas that you're willing to work on. You also want to demonstrate to the employer. You want to give an idea of what you can do, and you want to show knowledge of the company's business, where it's been and where it's heading. So that's again knowing kind of the background of the company before you go into the interview. So this is a short video, and it kind of it's by Forbes, and it kind of addresses how you can successfully go into an interview and address your weakness as well. So with the software I'm using, again, it won't let me have video, audio within the presentation. So the audio of the video is coming from my phone, so hopefully you can hear it. And so I'm going to get that set up.
It's the dreaded question at the end of every interview. What would you say your weaknesses are? You're almost guaranteed to be asked, and yet how to turn your response into a positive without sounding arrogant can be a puzzle. If you're not clear on where you need improvement, then you're not clear on your strengths. Being aware of your weaknesses is a good sign. It shows that you know the areas you can improve upon and aren't suffering from a case of hubris. If you can, try to prepare at least one example of a previous failure or weakness that you've successfully turned into a strength. It's best to steer clear of things you're still working on. For example, say, I used to struggle with time management, so now I set personal deadlines along the way, so I know I'll complete the project on time. Odds are your interviewer is not interested in the fact that you never make your bed. Personal weaknesses are okay sometimes, but what they're really looking for are your weaknesses in the workplace and how you've overcome them. Don't say, I tend to be shy. A better response would be, sometimes I can get intimidated at big meetings. Then tell them how you've overcome that insecurity. Responses like, I'm a perfectionist and I work too hard are no good. Odds are they've heard this before and will immediately dismiss it. Also, you'll sound arrogant. The fact that you're committed to your work is a credit to you, but should also be a given. The best answer to a question is a truthful one, because it's unlikely you'll be hired for the area you're weakest in. While being prepared is highly advised, a scripted response runs the risk of coming off as disingenuous. Remember, employers know you're not perfect, and most aren't looking to catch you off guard. What they want to see is the resilience, flexibility, and self-awareness that will allow you to evaluate your work and where you might improve and learn from criticism along the way.
So that's just kind of a short video to kind of give you an idea of how to appropriately address your weaknesses within a job interview, which is super helpful because employers want to know that you're working on yourself as well as willing to work within their company. So just a few more extra notes. Build bridges of opportunity. Ask questions about the responsibilities as to continue demonstrating your skills and knowledge. Asking about what you'll be doing in the company, So that'll kind of help you see the areas where you'll be most helpful, but also give you preparation for the job, and it'll show that you're interested and you're willing to do your best work. But you also want to avoid the great I pit, kind of always talking about yourself in the interview. You want to focus on what they're looking for, not necessarily what you're looking for or the benefits you want. One of the worst things you can ask is, how much money does this job pay? Because it just shows that you're interested in the payment and not really investing in the company. So say you get the job, you want to make that job yours. Just a few good notes. You want to get out of your own way, avoid self-defeating behavior. That's kind of true within our psychology class. We talked about self-doubt and how that happens in many stages of life, depending on your experiences. So that's a type of self-defeating behavior. You want to get rid of that so you can get to your full potential as an employee and also as a person. You want to be a productive employee, be agreeable with your coworkers, be on time, and be willing to work overtime if the company asks you to. Just taking the extra steps to be the best employee that you can be, and making that very aware to the employers as you are beginning to get hired. So if I was presenting this to a group of public people, or maybe to a public school or something, I might be a little bit careful with including the scriptural interpretation, but I think it's very appropriate in this context, and also just within this class, because it's been a big part of our class. So just some quick verses that are kind of encouraging, especially if you're about to get a new job or look for a new job. Proverbs 3:6 says, "In all your ways submit to him, and he will make your path straight." Jeremiah 29:11 says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you a hope and a future." Luke 12:31 says, "But seek his kingdom, and these things will be given to you as well." And Philippians 4:19 says, "And my God will meet all your needs according to the riches of his glory in Jesus Christ." So just to sum up all those verses, I think as you're looking for a new job, if you submit to the way of the Lord and just submit to what he has for your life and the call he has for you, and you have good intentions, and you do your best to have a Christ-like attitude and give him all the glory for your job or whatever you do, he'll meet your needs and he'll make your path straight. He'll supply for your family and just all the concerns that many people have today in corporate America for their jobs. A lot of people are worried about if their families will be provided for. Is this enough money? Am I going to get enough benefits? And thankfully as Christians, that's something we can submit to the Lord and say, whatever job you'd have me in, Lord, just help me to glorify you. And if we go at employment with that attitude, God will take care of our families and meet the needs that we may be concerned about. So that is our presentation, and thank you, and hopefully this could be helpful to a lot of people.